The painting you see right here contains a mystery that art historians have been debating for centuries. Over 4 centuries after it was completed, its ambiguity still baffles viewers, and there are several reasons for that. It was created around 1600 by Caravaggio, one of the most revolutionary and controversial painters in Western art. It was this painting that finally marked his breakthrough. It transformed his status to that of a true superstar of the Baroque era. A group of men sat around the table counting money, when suddenly 2 figures enter from the right. One of them is Christ. The moment depicted is the exact instant when Jesus calls Matthew, a tax collector, to abandon his life and follow him. But here is where things become complicated. For centuries, everyone assumed they knew which figure was Matthew. But in recent decades, a new interpretation has emerged that completely changes the meaning of the painting. So let me ask you directly, which man in the painting do you think is Matthew? Keep your answer in mind, because by the end of this video, you may have changed it. In 1599, Caravaggio received the most important commission of his career. He was asked to decorate the chapel in the church of San Luigi dei Francesi in Rome, with 3 paintings depicting scenes from the life of Saint Matthew. At the time, Caravaggio was not yet famous, known mostly for smaller works depicting fruit sellers and young men with musical instruments. The calling of Saint Matthew was placed on the left wall of the chapel, where it still hangs today. And from the moment it was unveiled, it caused a sensation. What made it so shocking was not the subject, but the way Caravaggio chose to depict it. Instead of placing the scene in ancient Palestine, he set it in what appears to be a Roman tavern of his own time. The men wear contemporary clothing, and the room is dark, almost like a basement. There are no angels, no obvious signs of the divine, and yet, something sacred is clearly happening. Before we discuss the central mystery, we must first talk about the light, because in this painting, light is not simply illumination, it is theology made visible. A powerful beam enters from the upper right, cutting through the darkness across the canvas. It does not come from any window we can see, but seems to originate from somewhere beyond the frame, somewhere outside our world. The light follows the gesture of Christ's outstretched hand, which points toward the table. The implication is unmistakable. The light is divine grace itself, entering a dark and sinful space. And this is something you might have seen before. Notice how Caravaggio painted Christ's hand. It echoes almost exactly the gesture of Adam in Michelangelo's creation of Adam on the Sistine Chapel ceiling. Caravaggio is telling us that this moment is a kind of second creation, a new beginning for the man who will receive that light. This is the moment that we realize that the painting stops being a scene and starts becoming a question. So the question is, who is receiving the light? For nearly 400 years, the answer seemed obvious, as most art historians agreed on it. In the center of the composition sits a bearded man, older than the others, dressed in fine clothing. As the light falls upon the table, this man raises his hand and points at himself with an expression of surprise. The gesture initially seems to say, "Who? Me?" This interpretation feels natural, even inevitable, capturing the psychological drama of the moment. Matthew, caught in the act of counting money, looks up to find himself singled out by Christ. Generations of viewers have found this interpretation deeply moving. It suggests that divine grace can reach anyone, even in the midst of their most worldly activities. And for centuries, no one questioned it, especially since Caravaggio painted 2 more paintings featuring the same bearded man. As you can see, the inspiration of Saint Matthew and the martyrdom of Saint Matthew featured the same figure, but in the 1980s, some art historians began to look more closely, and they noticed something troubling. If we follow the direction of Christ's pointing hand, and if we trace the angle of that divine light, they do not actually fall on the bearded man in the center. They fall on the young man at the far left end of the table, the one slumped over a pile of coins, completely absorbed in counting money. This young man has not even looked up. He does not see Christ, and he certainly does not see the light. He is utterly focused on his task, oblivious to the moment of transformation happening around him. And if this is Matthew, then the bearded man in the center is not pointing at himself. He is pointing past himself toward the young man, as if to say, "Do you mean him?" This theory changes everything. In the traditional interpretation, the painting captures the instant of recognition. Matthew sees Christ, understands that he is being called, and responds with astonishment. There is a psychological connection between the caller and the called. But in the alternative suggestion, the painting captures something completely different. Matthew has not yet seen Christ. He is so absorbed in money, so attached to his worldly life, that divine grace is literally shining on him and he does not notice. This interpretation transforms the painting into a meditation on spiritual blindness. It asks the viewer, how often does grace enter your life without you even noticing? How often are you too absorbed in your daily concerns to see what truly matters? Now, let us examine what we can actually see. Peter stands between Christ and the table, and his hand also points toward the group. If we trace his gesture carefully, it seems to aim toward the left side of the table, not the center. The light, too, clearly illuminates the left side of the composition more strongly. But there is also evidence for the traditional view. The bearded man's gesture is so emphatic, so central to the composition, that it almost seems impossible Caravaggio would have placed it there without significance. The truth is, Caravaggio left no written explanation, and we will never know with certainty what he intended. But I think the ambiguity is precisely the point. Caravaggio was not painting a simple illustration of a Bible story. He was creating an image that asks something of the viewer, that forces you to look carefully and place yourself within the scene. Because here is the uncomfortable truth. We could be any of these figures. We could be the young man on the right, too absorbed in conversation to notice anything unusual happening. We could be the bearded man, suddenly aware that something important is occurring, but not yet certain if it concerns us. Or we could be the figure at the end of the table, so focused on our immediate concerns that we miss the call entirely. The painting does not tell us who Matthew is. Instead, it asks us to decide for ourselves who we are. Something else that makes this painting so powerful is the way Caravaggio brought the sacred into the ordinary. There is no huge halo around Christ's head, only a thin golden ring that is almost invisible. The setting is not a temple but a counting house, and the men wear the clothes of Roman street life in Caravaggio's time. The painter was saying that divine intervention does not happen in some remote, idealized past. This is why the painting still speaks to us, more than 4 centuries later. It suggests that at any moment, in any place, we might find ourselves called to something greater than ourselves. The only real question is whether or not we will notice. Today, the calling of St. Matthew remains in the chapel, in the same church where Caravaggio installed it more than 400 years ago. Visitors still enter the dark chapel, insert the coin to illuminate the paintings, and stand in awe before this extraordinary scene. And I suspect that many of them find themselves asking the same question: which one is Matthew? I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Which interpretation do you find more convincing? And thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please subscribe and turn on notifications for more similar videos.